Warning signs he's losing interest in you. You're not a mind reader, but you're also not blind. Taking note of someone's actions and words tells us everything we need to know about their interests. And more. You must first free yourself from being attached to the outcome and start being objective in how you consider each piece of information. Even if you don't want to confront the harsh truths, being as objective as you can is your key to discovering the warning signs and evaluating what they mean. If you're worried that he is losing interest in you, whether he's your boyfriend, husband, partner, or maybe you guys only recently started dating, there are certain indicators that you can look out for. 1. You're not spending nearly as much time together as you used to. You're both rarely spending any time together. And when you do, it's because you made the plans and maybe even coerced him into participating. There are even times when you try to make plans, but he makes up some excuse or finds some reason to avoid it. 2. He is not trying to be romantic. You feel like he has started to slack off recently when it comes to your relationship. He is rarely making any plans to hang out or take you out to nice dates. He puts in no effort, just the bare minimum. Maybe he only replies when you text or call him and never initiates a conversation himself. Most importantly, you've noticed changes in how he carries himself around you. He doesn't maintain his physical appearance like he used to, doesn't try to impress you or win you over anymore, etc. 3. He's often making excuses and you feel like you're no longer a priority. His recent attitude and behavior make you think you're no longer a priority to him. He doesn't really pay attention to you and his plans never fit into your schedule. He always seems busy when it comes to you, but has a ton of time for other people and activities. Maybe when you guys first started dating, he did everything you ever asked, which just makes it worse now that his default response is to make excuses, canceling dates at the last minute and saying you guys will do it another day. 4. No more future plans, vacations, trips, etc. When you guys first started dating, he'd often make distant plans with you. Maybe a vacation to some mountains, a friend's wedding, etc. But recently, he has started to make excuses for not committing to plans in the future. Maybe he is no longer sure he'll get leave for the ski trip you both were planning. Maybe he just shuts you down anytime you bring up plans about your future together. 5. He dodges questions about your relationship or your future together. This is likely to be a guy you haven't been seeing for too long. He doesn't like to put labels on things and has never hinted at wanting anything serious. He isn't taking any steps towards making things official between the two of you, and maybe the few times you've tried to talk about it, he just makes vague excuses about friends or wanting to be sure you're right for him. And all this while, he continues to pursue you intimately and practically treat you like a girlfriend. 6. He has become vague and indecisive. When you first started dating, he was always decisive about what he wants to do, what his plans were, whether he wants to go out, etc. But recently, he has become very indecisive and his responses are often vague. If you ask him what he's going to be doing later in the day, he's unsure. If you ask him whether he wants to go out, he's not sure he'll have time, etc. He rarely ever shares his plans with you, too, and then you find out he has been out with other friends. When you ask him something, his responses are vague and maybe it feels like you're pulling teeth every time you try to get an answer out of him. 7. Phone calls and texts have steadily decreased. You guys used to text, call often, and he wanted to always see you. But lately, there's been a sudden slowdown in the communication between you guys. Maybe there's even been a couple of times when he said he'd call you the next day but then failed to do so. Maybe there's even been times when he doesn't reach out at all for days, and then suddenly wants to meet up. If he's avoiding calls and responding vaguely via texts, that's an even bigger flag that something is up. 8. The relationship has become one-sided. He used to know your schedule and send you messages during the day to check in. You guys used to have a lot of discussions and deep chats. But recently, it seems like you're the only one who talks or asks any questions. It's not even that he doesn't text or call, he is barely there when you do it, either. It takes him hours to respond to texts or call back if he even decides to. All in all, it's like he's putting in no effort at all. 9. The relationship has stagnated. You guys are still hanging out and meeting up. You're not fighting or anything. But it just feels more friendly and less romantic. Like there's no up and down, just a flat line. This would especially stand out if your relationship had really strong momentum at first and then tapered off. Maybe you guys have been seeing each other for a while but he won't put a label on it, or take the next step. And anytime you want to talk about the relationship, he dodges it. 10. He has become defensive and rude, and things often end in a fight. He's not the nice, sweet guy you first fell for anymore. Maybe he picks at you or intentionally does things he knows you hate. Maybe it seems like he's trying to get under your skin. This could be over text, phone, or even in person. Maybe he ignores you, acts sarcastic, and even hurls insults at you. Things often lead to fights, and then he even tries to put the blame on you for that and make you feel bad. 11. You're not having sex, or at least nowhere near as much as you used to. You guys haven't had sex or even been physically intimate for a while. Things used to be really steamy when you guys started dating, but that was a while back. Intimate moments are few and far in between, and when you think about it, you can't remember the last time you had sex, or kissed, or held hands, or even hugged. Maybe you try to initiate things sometimes, and he just says he's tired and rolls over. 12. You're only having sex. You guys are having sex all the time, and that's all you guys do when you're together. This situation can manifest itself in several ways. Maybe you guys don't see each other often, but when you do, he pressures you into having sex. Maybe you guys have sex but you're noticing other signs of him losing interest. Maybe you don't hear from him for days and then he texts asking to come over, especially if you guys never go out and you only hear from him when it's convenient for him, and always at night. Or maybe the sex just feels boring and routine, like you're just going through the motions and all he cares about is satisfying himself. As you can see, there's a lot of reasons why a guy might be losing interest in you. And the best thing to do in most cases just happens to be to move on. In most cases, the guy is just not worth your time. There are those few cases where there's some miscommunication or that things could still be fixed, particularly if the loss of interest is because of issues in the guy's personal life, but it's not that common. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe.